Happy Sunday, everybody. It's been a while since I've been out for a hike, and I'm starting to feel the loss of it. So I'm busy doing a million errands this weekend, but I decided I need to get out for at least a quick hike, especially since our big trip is coming up in about 3 weeks. So I've got to get up to snuff before then. So what I've decided is I'm going to make a quick run up past New Hope, Pennsylvania, to the Tohickon Community Park. I think that's the name of it. We're going to do the High Cliffs Trail. This is really popular in the area for rock climbing, but my understanding is the trail isn't the rocks. The rocks are beside the trail. So it sounds like it's going to be beautiful. We're going to hope the weather holds off because I was the eternal optimist and didn't bring my rain gear today. So let's go see how wet I get. So this is a very popular local trail, and I'd hoped that by getting out here early, I'd be able to avoid the crowds, but I didn't quite manage it. So I'm sure I'm gonna be getting passed by a million people because I am really slow. This is supposedly a 2-hour hike. It's about 4 miles, but this is me and I'm very slow. So if I get this done in 4 hours, I'm gonna be very happy. It's 10 after 9 now, so let's see if we can get done before lunch. Now that I know what to look for, you really do see that Japanese stoat grass everywhere. It's just completely filled in the woods here and is choking out any ground cover that might be trying to come up. It's hard to believe it's only been here 6-7 years, because it really is everywhere. I guess before I had always thought it was just a native grass, but it's really kind of horrifying to realize how quickly one mistake can take over forests everywhere. I want to pull it, but what's the point? There's so much of it. So I'm about a little over a mile in to this trail and a little under an hour, so I'm making pretty good time. This is not the kind of trail I had expected to find in southeastern Pennsylvania. You've heard us complain endlessly about Pennsylvania rocks. And the problem with Pennsylvania rocks isn't that there are rocks, because other places in the country have a lot of rocks too. It's that they are small, jagged, sticking up into the trail kinds of rocks, which is not because, like I had thought, of the glacial drop, but because so much of this part of Pennsylvania lines up with the seasons, and the stone in the area has been subject for thousands of years to freeze-thaw cycles, which has basically shattered the rocks into tiny, sharp little fragments. And when you've got shale, that makes sharp rocks. But this trail, there have been rocks, but they have not been those sharp, pointy rocks. They've been flat, kind of almost bouldery kinds. A lot more roots than rocks, and I have no problem with roots. I can use them like stair steps, as I'm doing right here. So, like I said, very popular trail. I've passed a number of hikers, a bunch of Boy Scouts, came through who have been camping out last night, and we're going to see where they were camping in a little bit. Oh, hello. And I have a friend here. Do you want to say hi to YouTube? This dog belongs to a cyclist who I passed earlier, and it looks like he's on his way back. Lots of bikes on this trail too. It's a shared use trail. But man, you got to be brave to ride a bike on this trail. So, all right, here comes his dad. So we're going to say goodbye to the puppy. So this is the Deer Meadow Campground, and I knew it was here, but I didn't realize that was where this trail was taking us. I had thought about coming down this way to test out some overnight gear, but I just never made it down. But it's a lovely little campground. Unfortunately, my doggy friend didn't realize it was here either. And when he came into it, he kind of freaked out and went racing back down the trail, trying to get away from it. I was able to help his owner slow him down and get him back on track. And it's a pretty full campground today, considering the weather. A lot of bikes, so I guess the bikes like these trails. Halfway pit stop. I've gotten lucky. It hasn't started raining yet. It's still really cloudy, and the humidity is, I am very sweaty, but so far so good. 2 gear issues. I'm back in my Merrill Moabs, and I forgot how heavy these things are. They're a pound each. This is a 2-pound pair of boots. And I'm liking the stability. I hadn't realized how unstable I felt in the Speed Goats, but these are rock solid. But my feet are aching, so I may have to talk to somebody about that. The other issue I've run into is with my trekking poles, because I didn't realize that the kids had brought them into the campsite when we were camping and hung them up on the lantern post that we never use. And you can see the strap here got wet in all that rain and stretched out and is now really stiff and tight, and it's digging into my hand as I'm hiking. So I'm gonna have to take them home and soak them good, get them wet, and try and stretch that out. And I don't know if it's just because of the salt that it's stiff from all the hiking that I've done and never cleaned them out or anything. But if I can't get that sorted before our Maryland trip, I may have to get a new pair of trekking poles, because I'm going to be relying on those really heavily during that hike. Just a very quiet day. I'm glad I came out. I've been wanting to do this trail for a long time, and it just never seemed to be the right time. I'm glad I didn't come and do it in the winter, because I think if these trails were icy, I'd be very nervous. But it's really beautiful. I'm really enjoying it. And I mean, it's 45 minutes from the house. So we've got a great campground, these beautiful trails, cliffs. Who knew there were cliffs in southeast Pennsylvania? But there you go. So the trail back should be closer to those cliffs. So hopefully we'll have some more interesting views as we make our way back. So I just have to figure out where the trail picks up, because it's really hard to see from right here because it's just open field. So I've been standing on the trail for a couple of minutes arguing with myself, because I had decided, well, I'm just going to take the yellow trail and that'll just take me back to the car. But then I realized, well, but this is still way up on the cliffs. I'm not seeing the water any better from up here. But if I take the orange trail down, it means I'm going to have to take the orange trail up. And we've been seeing all along this trail how steep the incline is. But you know what? I'm not out here for it to be easy. I'm out here to see beautiful things. Water is a beautiful thing. And, you know, if I'm doing 10 miles a day in 2 weeks, I probably shouldn't be afraid of doing a little extra mileage. So I am backtracking, and I'm going to take the orange trail. Let's see if I regret that decision. Looks like I found the rocks. right, I definitely bit off more than I expected with that trail. That came down pretty steeply, and it was all that jagged, loose scree, and a couple of really big trees blown down over the path that they hadn't taken out, which for most people probably isn't a problem. I've got stubby little legs, so getting over them was a little treacherous. I got to check my map and see how much further we've got to go before it starts going up. I passed a family with 2 little boys, and the mom was saying, we have to go back up as far as we went down. And I'm thinking, oh man, I came a long way down. All right, but it was worth it. This is beautiful here. So let me take a look at my map and figure out what comes next. I'm at another crossroads, and fortune favors the brave, but my mom also didn't raise any fools. The orange trail, which picks up again here, goes all the way down and a little bit up and then back down to the creek. And I can only assume that the terrain is going to be very similar to what I just went through. And I'm not in good enough shape to do that twice. So we're going to stick on the yellow trail and head back this way. I was right about my timing. It's a little after 12 now, and in the last 3 minutes I've passed 5 people. So definitely a very popular trail. There's a lot you can do with it. So far I've found the yellow trail, the blue trail, and the orange trail. Yellow and blue are fairly easy. Blue especially. Yellow's a little more challenging, but not terrible. And then if you want an adventure, you take the orange trail. I think that follows along the creek all the way down to where they are doing the climbing. So, but if you want just a short hike or a longer one, put it all together and do about 6 miles, all kinds of things. I've passed one couple about 4 times, and I think they're just doing a continuous loop of the yellow trail, because I keep running into them going every which way, but always on the yellow trail. So stone wall is really interesting because it's so long. And from what I understand, that is an indication that this was pasture land at one point. And you can see the wall is continuing even still. So that would have been to keep somebody's livestock in one given area, but free to roam and graze and whatnot. And the angle that we saw back there would have kept them out of that rocky creek so that there wasn't a risk of them falling in or hurting themselves. So it's just so unexpected to see such a long wall in such unused area, or what seems like unused area, but that's the case with so much wild space in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. Is just because it's wild now doesn't mean it always was. And you can kind of tell by some of the plants that you'll see out here, grapevines, and unfortunately the invasive multiflora roses are all signs that people lived here once upon a time and planted things that settled in and took over and maybe migrated some distance, but not huge distances. But it's really interesting. All right, I don't see any yellow blazes. I got to figure out where I am. And that's me back to the car. Not too bad. That was 4.5 miles in just under 4 hours, and 50 minutes of that was my halftime break and setting up shots and taking pictures. So that's a pretty respectable pace. My feet are hurting, which is not surprising. I haven't worn those boots in a couple of months. So it may be I need to break them in, but I think I am going to take a run by REI just to see what else they have that might fit what I know now that I need, which is a higher drop and a lighter weight. So next weekend, I'm going backpacking. I'm going to do an overnight. Now the question is, do I go close and hike long miles, or do I go far away and do short days? So I haven't decided that yet, but as soon as I know, I'll let you know, and I will see you on the trail next week. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.